Hello everyone, and oh my goodness, you guys have been waiting for so long for this. I have been waiting for so long for this, and it is finally here. Welcome to the official HEIR vote video for the Galaxy Pack. Actually, part one. We're gonna have a separate video for Andromeda and Orion's puppies because there's so many. We have almost 30 wolves to vote on this time, you guys. I think the grand total is like, I want to say 27 or 28. There's a lot. Given that each wolf can have that maximum of 16 puppies, and Nova hit that maximum, while Andromeda was, I think she lost 3 puppies overall. That's amazing. It's honestly, wow. Or actually, wouldn't that be 29? I think that'd be 29. We have almost 30 wolves here in any case. And so this first video will focus on Nova and Equinox's puppies, and we will have a second video a little bit later on that will deal with Andromeda and Orion's puppies. So we're going to go through these guys first, though. So I am so sorry this took so long. Coming up with that many unique challenges and trying to find ones we haven't used before is not easy. It's a very difficult process, but finally, I am done and we are ready to go. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So right here we have Nova, who is the father of this pack. He's the brother of Andromeda and one of the founding parents of the Galaxy Pack, and he has 16 puppies. So we're gonna go down to the beginning here and see, yeah, there's his mate Equinox. We actually played as Equinox. I believe that is the first time we've ever played as one of the NPC mates in this game. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure we haven't done that before. So we have Equinox right here. And then we have their puppies. So the first litter is Rigel, Draco, Hercules, and Lepus. So let's go through these guys. We'll go ahead and we will go modify. So we have, first of all, Rigel, who's a very small wolf. She has this coat here from the Black-tailed Deer Plateau Pack. Pretty, not too much tinting. She has only 15 strength, 45 stamina, and 90 speed. So she takes a lot after her father. She's very, very fast, but instead of having a lot of strength and very little stamina, she has more stamina and not that much strength. Let me play her howl for you. So there we have Rigel's howl, and then she does have this notched ear because Rigel has been a little bit of a troublemaker. Rigel was, if you guys remember from way back at the beginning of the Galaxy Pack, she was the pup who walked into the creek. She was a little bit of a troublemaker. She very much took after her father, and because of that, her challenge is that she actually has to taunt predators before chasing them off. So she can do that by play bowing and or growling at them, and she has to let it finish completely before charging into attack. So that could tend to get her in a bit of trouble. It's a little bit of a... It could be a little bit of a hassle, and it could cause some problems if we're not careful with it. And her ability is that she is an excellent swimmer, as she proved even as a puppy. And so she can make a save point before crossing the river, and if any puppies die during or near the crossing, she may reload this save to rescue them. She also has a side quest, and that side quest is that if Rigel brings her puppies near the Druid Pack on the way to the summer hunting ground and pauses to taunt them, again by growling, she will gain an additional chance to rescue one puppy that would have otherwise died from that litter, but only for the rest of the journey. So that doesn't carry over into the next litter. It would just help save puppies from any last-minute chaos that could happen, because we have had puppies die at the very last minute, so it still could definitely help out. And that is Rigel for you. So let's go ahead and go back, look at the other puppies in her litter. Next up, we have Draco. So Draco, let's go ahead and hit modify. Draco is a fairly large male. He's actually very strong. He has, again, from the Black-tailed Deer Plateau Pack. He kind of takes a little bit... Well, he takes after both his parents in coloration because they're both very dark. And he has... he's a lot stronger. He has 40 strength like his father. He has 70 stamina, but he's not all that fast. He only has 40 speed. And let me play his howl. So he has that kind of deep, haunting howl. I believe that's actually the howl that, would it be his great-grandmother at this point, Katari had? Wow, it's hard to believe we've come so far from the very beginning, and all this in well, just over No, for WolfQuest, it's been under a year. We started playing WolfQuest in December, I think. He does have a torn ear, and he's a little bit of a... he's a pretty tough wolf. He's very bold, and his challenge is that he must actually dominate at least one wolf from each pack in Amethyst Mountain before choosing a mate. So he has to go to each pack and fight them, which could be a little bit of a challenge, given that that does include the Druid pack. Even though the Druid pack has greatly decreased in strength because over the generations they've started to lose some of their members, and this last time they proved that they were not as strong as they used to be, and the Galaxy pack actually was able to dominate them and kind of chase them off their turf a little bit. So they're hopefully not going to be as big of a problem for us in the future, because we do have some random generators that'll come into play if they attack, but they're still quite strong when it comes to strength, just straight out in Amethyst Mountain. So that could be a little bit of a challenge. His ability is that he's very good at chasing away eagles, and he may rescue one puppy from an eagle by reloading an autosave once per litter. So only one puppy per litter for a grand total of 4, and he can only rescue them from eagles. So that is Draco. We'll go ahead and go back again. And then next up we have Hercules. So Hercules is pretty much the tank of the family. He is extremely strong. He has a fair amount of stamina too, but he's really not that fast. That's probably going to impact him most in hunting because, well, he can do a great job once he gets his teeth into something. It's going to take him a while to catch up to it. And let me play his Howl. So he actually has the same howl his father had, another very deep, powerful sounding one. He has a coat from the Lamar Canyon pack, and it does have a little bit of a red tint. And then he does just have the normal body type. He doesn't really have any scars or injuries or torn ears or anything, but he is a very tough and he's kind of, he feels the need to prove himself, and so he does that by attacking and pursuing or killing nearly every animal he comes across. He has to make a good attempt at hunting most creatures except moose and elk. We'll talk about that in a little bit. He must attack bears and cougars either until they run or his life is at risk, which means that basically he's one hit from death, or he's not within reasonable distance of a carcass. If he's in serious threat, then we can go ahead and leave, but he has to at least try to fight them. And he has to chase foxes, but since he's so slow, I don't really expect him to catch them, so we're not going to make him have to catch them. He just has to give a good effort and try. He's not required to hunt elk unless he wants to, but if he kills the whole herd, he has to kill the bull elk too. And he can kill moose if he wants to, but he doesn't have to, just because they're so strong and so dangerous. His ability is that for every 5 large predators, bears, and cougars he chases away, he gains a chance to rescue a puppy by reloading an autosave. It stacks indefinitely and accumulates over all litters, so that's very similar to his father Nova's ability, but slightly different in that Nova's ability was to protect himself, whereas Hercules is to rescue his puppies. He also does have a side quest, which is that if he manages to kill or chase off at least one animal of every type, he gains an additional chance per litter to rescue any pack member who would have otherwise died from any threat. It does not stack between litters. Now, any pack member includes himself. So if he does manage to kill or chase away at least one animal of every type, which will probably, at the minimum, would take him through the first litter because stranger wolves and eagles only appear to attack puppies, he will gain an extra chance per litter to rescue any pack member. So he has some pretty powerful abilities, but he also has a pretty serious challenge. And let's go ahead and we'll go back, and then we will look at the final puppy from the first litter, Lepus. So Lepus is actually named after the scientific name for, I believe it is Heirs, and also the constellation. And as such, his challenge is that he must prioritize hunting rabbits over other animals. If a rabbit spawns, he has to drop everything to attack it. Before we continue, I actually did not... let me go ahead and show you guys his stats. So he's not very strong. He's got a decent amount of stamina, and he's very fast. Let me play his howl. So he has a higher pitched howl. Not quite as deep and imposing as some of the others. He's also from the Black-tailed Deer Plateau pack in coat. And then he does have a bent ear. And as for his ability here, for every rabbit he feeds his puppies, he gains a chance to revive them. This stacks indefinitely, but it only lasts for the rest of the episode. So every time we start a new recording session, he'll have to start from the beginning, and he'll have to hunt another rabbit to get another chance. So it could be a very powerful ability if we can find the rabbits, but at the same time, it doesn't last very long. So that is the first litter that Nova and Equinox had, and let's go ahead and move on to the second one. So first up we have Celestia. So we'll go ahead and hit modify. Celestia actually has a radio collar. She has, again, from the Black-tailed Deer Plateau pack, there seem to be a lot, these colors seem to be fairly prevalent amongst the Galaxy pack, and she actually shows a little bit of that red head that you can see from the Druid pack. That passed down through Equinox and does show up in some of the puppies. So she has 30 strength, 55 stamina, and 65 speed, so she's a little bit more balanced, and in fact she's actually quite similar to her great-grandmother Katari in stat balance. Let me play her howl. So that is what she sounds like. Again, a little bit higher howl, and then she does have this radio collar, so she was captured by researchers and has this collar on to track her movements, and so we might see them come by every now and then if we play as her. Her challenge is that she must stick to areas open to the sky and avoid areas that have a lot of foliage. So when that comes to choosing a den, she's going to have to try and figure out which den is most open. She's going to have to stick to the more open areas whenever she can. She can go through the forest, but she probably will avoid it. And her ability is that she may rescue one puppy per litter from a predator, but only if the attack occurs at night. So we can play at any time of day, but it would probably be to our benefit to play at night, at least when we have puppies. So that is Celestia. We'll go ahead and go back, and next up we have Pluto. We'll go ahead and hit modify. Now, Pluto does have a notched ear. He has 40 strength, 60 stamina, and 50 speed, so he's, again, a little bit more balanced. Let me play his howl. So he has a bit of a deeper howl as well, again, like his great-grandmother Katari, and he actually shares the same coat as his sister Celestia, but with a little bit different tinting. He's much more on the gray, whereas she showed a little bit of the red coloration a bit more clearly. And he does have a notched ear. Now, his challenge is that he must roll a dice to see what time of day it is, and each time of day will affect what ability he has. So we could have some pretty bad luck due to that, because his ability is that he may rescue one puppy per litter from a threat, but the threat depends on the time of day. So if it is dawn, he may rescue a puppy from a coyote. If it's day, he may rescue a puppy from a bear. If it's dusk, he may rescue a puppy from a cougar. And if it's night, he may rescue a puppy from a stranger wolf. So that could be kind of interesting, and it could lead to some issues depending on what time of day creatures attack. It could be a little bit of an interesting, difficult thing. So that is Pluto. Let's go ahead and go back, and finally, to conclude the second litter, we have Lexel. So Lexel is a lot smaller. She actually has this gray coat again, and a little bit of a reddish tint as well, so she's kind of almost got a gold color. She has 20 strength, 60 stamina, and 70 speed, so a little bit more balanced than, say, Rigel, but still not very strong, and definitely much more stamina and speed than strength. So that is her howl. Again, it's a little bit of a higher pitched one. And then she actually does have a radio collar as well. So she was also captured by researchers and is being tracked by them so that they can study the wolves. And her challenge is that she actually has a chronic illness that weakens her when it's cold. She can't hunt during the winter, and she must wait until spring to hunt for her puppies. But because of this, because that would basically make it impossible to ever play and Bring It On, she can play 2 years on Pretty Easy and 2 on Challenging. That does mean, though, that we can't winter hunt, and we'll have to hunt for the journey pretty much as we go or while we already have the puppies. Her ability is that she's learned to be very cunning and shrewd, and she may reload a save once per litter to rescue her puppies. In addition, she has an extra chance to reload a save once per litter if a puppy starves. So, she can rescue up to 2 puppies per litter if one of them dies of starvation. and the other one is unrestricted. It doesn't matter how the puppy dies. And she also does have a side quest. So if Lexel makes it through a litter with all 4 puppies still alive, she may roll for a 50-50 chance to rescue a pup she would have lost to a predator in the next litter. She may continue to roll for this 50-50 chance until it results in a successful rescue. So basically what that means is she can get even an additional chance, but it's going to be completely random. If she does roll the 50% chance that she can't rescue the puppy, she may roll again the next time, but as soon as she's able to use that chance successfully, then she can't roll again. So it's just a little bit of an extra thing that might help out. So she has a lot of benefits, but she does have to work pretty hard. So let's actually go ahead and go back, and that concludes the second litter. So next up we have the third litter, and starting off we have Virgo. So we'll go ahead and hit modify. Virgo has just the normal body type. He has 30 strength, 60 stamina, and 60 speed, actually the same stat balance as his great-grandmother Katari. Her genes have come through pretty well. He actually looks pretty similar to her as well, and he even has her howl. He does show a lot of the darker coloration too, though, that is common to the Galaxy Pack, and again has one of these sort of reddish-brown coats, but it is definitely tinted to be a lot darker. Now, Virgo is... What? Hold on, I am confused. Virgo's from Andromeda's litter, isn't... No, Virgo's from... Oh, Virgo's still from litter 2. We didn't do Virgo. Okay, never mind. I thought we went through all the puppies, but no, Virgo is still from litter 2. So Virgo's challenge is that he may only play at sunrise or sunset, and that he must face the increased threat from cougars that it brings, because as far as I understand, cougars do spawn more frequently at dawn and dusk. And his ability is that he may rescue 1 puppy per litter that would have died to a cougar. Now that does negate other threats. So if it's a bear, if it's an eagle, not going to be able to rescue the puppy. So now we are through with litter 2, and we can move on to litter 3. So litter 3 consists of Moon, Callisto, Night, and Scorpio. And Moon is first up, so she actually shows, again, some of the more traditional druid coloration, not quite as bright white, but she does show that reddish head again, and she does have quite light tinting. She's one of the lightest wolves we've seen in the Galaxy Pack, because most of them tend to be pretty dark. Why did she suddenly change size? I don't know, I think that must be a glitch. Because she only does have 25% strength, she has 70% stamina, and 55% speed. And then let me play her howl. So it's that old traditional howl that if any of you guys have been playing WolfQuest since before 2.7, that was the howl that we had. So very much back to the old days there. And she does have this bent ear. Now, Moon's challenge is that she must always play on one difficulty harder than normal, so she starts on Arduous, then goes to Challenging, and then has 2 years on Bring It On, because her light pelt does make her stand out quite a bit. Her ability is that she may rescue 2 puppies over the course of her lifetime, but only if they die at night. So again, it's beneficial to us to play at night. And let's go ahead and we'll go back. And next up we have Callisto. So we'll go Modify. Callisto has a torn ear. She has a lot of stamina, but not quite as much strength and speed. And then let me play her howl. So she has quite a deep howl there, a lot like her father. And she has one of these darker coats, which is actually tinted down to be even darker and then to be a little bit red. So Callisto is a very fierce warrior who desires to challenge the Northern Pack. So we've had issues with the Southern Pack, the Druid Pack, but the Northern Pack is actually, I believe, the Slough Pack. And she must make her den in the north and let her territory drop until a stranger wolf spawns. She must do this once per litter, but may resume marking territory normally after a stranger appears, regardless of whether or not she successfully chases it away. If a druid wolf spawns, and this is her ability, if a druid wolf spawns at a northern den and kills one of her puppies, she may reload an autosave to rescue the puppy. However, the wolf must be visibly druid. Now that will stack with some of the benefits that the Galaxy Pack already has after having chased off the druids. And then her side quest is that if she takes a mate from the Slough Pack, she may roll for a 50-50 chance to be able to rescue a puppy that would have otherwise died to a stranger wolf, because her mate will be from that pack and possibly be able to reason with his former pack mates. So that is Callisto. And next up we have Night. So Night is a very large and very, very dark in coloration wolf. He has, again, one of the black-tail coats. They seem to really fit the Galaxy Pack. And he has 50 strength, 70 stamina, and 30 speed. So again, much more strength balanced and a lot more stamina. He also has one of these deeper howls. And he does have a notched ear. So Night must always play at night, as his name would suggest, no surprise there, and must choose a mate with darker coloration as well, because that way they can all blend into the shadows, and the predators will have a harder time spotting them. His ability is that if he successfully raids the cattle ranch, he gains 1 chance to rescue a puppy that would have otherwise died. He may only have 1 active chance at a time, and chances only last for 1 episode. So if we go to the cattle ranch and succeed every time, we'll have a chance to rescue a puppy every episode, and we could even do that. He can even do that many times if he needs to, but he has to go to the cattle ranch each time he uses it up, or we start a new episode. So that could be a little bit of an interesting thing. And then last up for this litter, we have Scorpio. So Scorpio is a very red wolf. He has very dark coat, but it is tinted down to the red. And then he's very strong with 50% strength, 60% stamina, and 40% speed. Let me play his howl. So he has a little bit of a rougher sounding howl there, and he does have a torn ear as well. His challenge is that he must interact with 3 unique wolves from each territory before choosing a mate in Amethyst Mountain. So that could be dispersals, that could be pack wolves, but he has to interact with 3 wolves that are unique in each territory, so a total of 9 wolves. And that could be a bit of a challenge because I believe each pack only has 3 wolves in it, and it could be kind of interesting if we keep bumping into the same wolf. And then his ability is that he's particularly hardy and resistant to illnesses. If the animal challenge illness in the herd is rolled, he may ignore the challenge and consume as much meat as he needs. Basically what that means is that limits what sort of elk you can consume, and you can find more information about that in our animal challenges. I'll include a link to that in the video description. If the animal challenge, the scavenging infection, is rolled, which is where the coyotes are sick and have the ability to pass on the infection to our wolves, each puppy has a 50-50% chance of inheriting Scorpio's genetic hardiness. Hardy puppies have a 1/6 chance of being infected, as opposed to a half chance for puppies without genetic hardiness. In addition, infection progresses slower in hardy puppies. If a puppy is infected, the chance of death increases every other day instead of every day. So basically, with that challenge, normally, if it doesn't have a modifier like this, each puppy they'd start at a 1/6 chance of death, and the next day they're sick, it would be a 2 out of 6. The day after that, it would be a 3 out of 6. And so the longer they're sick, the more chance they have of dying. With this, then that will only increase every other day, and it'll make them a lot less likely to die. So that is Scorpio, and that actually concludes, I believe, the 3rd litter. Yes, it does. Okay. So finally, we have our 4th litter with Leo, Aries, Guco, and Zephie. So Leo is first up. Let's take a look at him. So he actually has that traditional black coat that we had all the way back in the beginning of WolfQuest, and he has a normal body type. He's fairly well balanced, but definitely a little bit more towards the speed. Still pretty strong, though, and then he has the traditional howl as well. And as for his coat, again, it is the traditional, and it is darkened down a bit. So Leo's challenge is that he has a deep animosity towards cougars, and he has to prioritize them over every other predator regardless of the consequences. His ability is that he may rescue puppies from a cougar attack once per litter by reloading an autosave. And his side quest is that for every 5 cougars Leo chases away, or every cougar that he kills, he gains 1 chance to recover from a lethal injury. It does not stack, though, so if he dies, he'll have to start over from 0 cougars and start chasing and trying to kill them again. Again, kind of similar to his father in some ways. So let's go ahead and go back. Next up we have Aries. So Aries actually shows, if we go ahead and hit modify, he shows some of that druid coloration too, but also the traditional darkness that the Galaxy Pack has had. They all have very dark coats for the most part. And he has 60 strength, 70 stamina, and 20% speed, so he's definitely, again, more strength-oriented. And let me play his Howl. So he has a little bit of a deceptively kind of wobbly howl. He doesn't have the powerful howl you might expect for someone with his build. He's a little bit of a not the best howler, perhaps. And then he has a notch in his ear. His challenge is that he prefers to spend his time on the hills and slopes of the land and must stick to them as much as he can. He has to make his den in a mountainous region as well. He doesn't really like the flatlands, especially like we see near the river in Slough Creek. His ability is that he may rescue one puppy per litter, provided the puppy would have died in a mountainous area. If the puppy dies in the flatlands, he may not rescue it. So that kind of would mean that most of the journey would be unprotected, but at the same time, his den would probably be okay. And that is Aries. So we'll go ahead and go back, and next up we have Guco. So Guco also has the druid coloration, but it is still a little bit darker, and Guco is a lot less strong. So he only has 20 strength, he has 75% stamina, and 55% speed. Let me play his Howl. So again, a bit of a higher pitched howl, and then he does have this bent ear. So Guco's challenge is that he actually has a disorder that affects his hydration and his ability to mark territory. So he has to visit a water source at least once per episode, and he can't mark territory before he does so. And when he does mark territory, he has to do it all at once. If he has to stop for any reason, he can't resume, and he'll have to go back to the river again before he can mark territory again. His ability is that if a puppy would have died while his territory is above 75%, he may rescue it. This ability has no limit, but it requires his territory level to be high enough. It has to be above 75% or he can't rescue the puppy. So, given that he has a hard time keeping his territory marked because he has to constantly go drink more water, it could be a bit of an issue. So that is Guco. And finally, we have Zephie. So let's go ahead and hit modify. So Zephie is definitely the most druid-looking. I don't know why the size keeps changing. Definitely the most druid-looking of all our wolves. She has that very traditional red head, and she gets that from her mother's side of the family. So she is not very strong at all. She's got only 10 strength, 50 stamina, and 90 speed. And let me play her Howl. So again, a little bit of a higher pitched howl, and then she does have a little bit of a torn ear. So her challenge is that because of her clear druid ancestry, the rest of the druid pack is pretty upset with her and kind of seeks her out as a target. If she settles at either the southern dens, she has to keep her territory below 50% to simulate that the pack is very hostile towards her. It does not, though, negate the bonuses that the Galaxy Pack already got from managing to chase off the druid pack. And that is 1 free rescue from a druid wolf and 50% of further chance of further attacks failing. Her ability is that for every 5 stranger wolves she chases off, she gains 1 chance to rescue a puppy that would have otherwise died. And her side quest is that if she manages to dominate a druid wolf on Amethyst Mountain, she gains an additional chance to rescue a puppy that would have otherwise died. So she could go into it with the chance to rescue a puppy if she manages to dominate a druid wolf. So let's go ahead and go back. So that is all 16 of Nova and Equinox's puppies. So we have Rigel, Draco, Hercules, Lepus, Celestia, Pluto, oh, I can't scroll, there we go, Lexel, Virgo, Moon, Callisto, Night, Scorpio, Leo, Aries, Guco, and Zephie. So those are all the options you're going to have in the poll that you can vote for, and you can find links in the description that will take you both to the annual challenges for reference for wolves like Scorpio and to the Google document that has all this information in it, so you can read through and look up each individual wolf's challenges and their side quests and their abilities and all that. So that concludes this branch of the Galaxy Pack, and I will see you in a little bit when we will be going through Andromeda and Orion's puppies.